NBA Finals series is tied 1-1 after first two games at Oklahoma City. It's been a good series so far. We're gonna go over our thoughts in today's episode and look ahead of games 3 and 4 in Indiana. This is Ballin Out. Sean Grant got no introduction needed. Isaiah Bufkin, thanks for hopping on the show once again. You got to get your predictions and a couple other things. But yeah, it's been a good finals so far. Interested to see what goes on. Real quick before we do get into the show, we are on YouTube. So like and subscribe. If you guys don't know that already, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere. We are on Twitter, Ballin Out Pod, Instagram, TikTok. I think I plugged everything, Grant. Let me know if I'm wrong. But yeah,
I think you're good. We got Instagram.
We everywhere, man.
We got all the socials. So yeah,
Everywhere you
give
get
us
your
a follow,
socials there.
subscribe for sure, and let us know what y'all think. Give us your comments and stuff like that. But into today's show, so Zay, we'll start with you because we did not get your prediction before the series started. So I know it's gonna be kind of tough. As the series has already started, but it's 1-1. What's your thoughts? What's your prediction? Of how you think it's gonna play out for the rest of the series?
Before the series started, my prediction was Pacers in 6. I just didn't think that Shai was gonna have a consistent second option that was gonna help him throughout the playoffs. J-Dub's been inconsistent. He can't buy a 3. Chet has been playing okay, but he hasn't been consistent in scoring, like a 20-point scorer. He's been more in like the 13 to 15 range. So I didn't think they were gonna bring enough firepower to help Shai, which played out in game 1. Game two, everybody came to the party. J-Dub played okay, but Chet came to the party. Aaron Wiggins came to the party. Caruso came to the party. So I'm still confident, though. I don't think Aaron Wiggins, Caruso going to have 20-point nights again. I think Pacers are in good shape right now.
Just real quick, let's go over game 1. Game 1 was thrilling. The Pacers did it once again. Late comeback in the fourth quarter. And then like you mentioned, Shai played like an MVP, but didn't have no help from his co-stars. Even other All-Star and J-Dub. Chet didn't show up. I think they had only 18 combined points between the two of them, which it's the NBA Finals. You can't really have that. So Grant, what are your thoughts? Your takeaways from the first game of this series and Indiana's win?
Yeah, I mean, couple things. Speaking on Indiana's behalf there, obviously they got the job done. Went out there and did what they needed to do. The thing with them, though, just going forward in this series, with the Thunder, we said this before, too, you just can't go down by that much. I get it, they still won at the end of the day. They keep putting themselves in a hole right there, and it's just, definitely, the Thunder are too good of a team when they're on. We saw, when J-Dub couldn't really hit a shot, that's why they were able to get some momentum going. Chet was just miserable. I think it was 6 points or whatever it was on 22% shooting. That's just
trash.
It's not gonna get the job done there. So I mean, going forward, the Pacers need to be more consistent. I want to see them get out on the fast break a little bit more. They had their opportunities, obviously, game 1. I'd like to see more of that kind of go into it, but yeah, the Thunder for them, I mean, they just gotta get their guys just in a rotation there, just get them going. Shai can't do everything. Obviously, he's still gonna put up his 35 or whatever he's averaging because I think he's got the most points scored through the first 2 games of his first finals in NBA history. So it's he's doing his thing clearly, but if you're not going to get that consistent help, this Pacers team is solid. Obviously, they've had their moments where they've looked pretty down and everything, but they always fight back. That's just what they do. This whole entire playoff series, they fought back, but Pacers definitely got to get out and get a bigger lead to start, or just not go down by 20 or something. Because then they have a chance in this series. They're a very solid team overall. I mean, Aaron Nesmith is just knocking down 3 after 3 left and right there. I want to see Tyrese get a little bit more aggressive from the mid-range there. I think he's a little bit too passive at times, and we see him kind of, pick it up at the very, very end of games, which is what he does. But I want to see that be more consistent throughout the actual game. Because I think from there, I think they'll benefit from that much more. And we're going to see much closer games and kind of less, Thunder going up by 20 and having to claw back. So,
yeah. Both of y'all takes on just game 1, the fourth quarter. Well, the first half really was just, it looks like OKC was going to run away with it. 20 turnovers for the Indiana Pacers in the first half, and then in the second half they only had 4. And then basically it came down to the last 5 minutes of the game, and Pacers kicked it into gear. So let me just get y'all thoughts of. I know y'all watched it and y'all saw that crazy step back tween by Nemhard.
No,
I know Zay,
it
you
was
was
good.
going crazy, but yeah, I know that was clean. So yeah, let me get y'all thoughts real quick.
I'll go. The fourth quarter comeback, it was typical Pacers fashion. Well, they've done it in the first two series of the game. I mean, of the season, playoffs, I should say. They came back and pretty much rallied and closed it out. Once they got it down to about 3, I was like, yeah, they're gonna win this game. I feel like everybody had like a feeling of they're gonna win this game. It's just how their playoff has gone. However, like Grant said, I don't like that they keep going down 20, especially against this team. We all know Pacers are offensive. Offense, get it out the net, let's run. OKC hangs their hats on defense. So when they go on them stretches of we can't score, I think it's been like a couple runs early in the game that lets OKC get up by a certain amount. Game one, they of course let the lead up, but that's not a formula for winning against OKC. Their defense is way too good. They're way too physical. They're wearing them down just as much as you guys will wear everybody else down. It's not gonna work, and they're deep. So it's not like Shai's playing super heavy minutes, and also you're just not gonna have an answer for Shai. So that's gonna be a problem just going forward as well. So game one I wasn't too happy about, but we're happy about all wins. All wins we take them. But in the actual gameplay of it, it was a hard watch.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
go ahead.
it was
Go ahead.
a hard watch. Go ahead, Grant.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, like I mean, first half was terrible. I mean, it was like I'm gonna turn it off and I'm gonna go watch something else type of thing. And again, like you said, typical Pacers fashion. Like let's just grind it out. Let's get in transition. Let's let Haliburton finally start actually shooting the ball, doing his thing. And like again, it's just typical Pacers fashion. It's what they've done this whole playoffs, and obviously it's got them to this point. But like I was saying, I think you were saying, Zay, it's you can't do that against this Thunder team, because they're gonna kill you on defense. They're just gonna be. I mean, they're suffocating really. Caruso is locking up. He's making it tough on Tyrese just to even get the offense going. So that's why, like, if you can get out in transition and get some easy buckets there, get a couple stops. I know this is saying like it's kind of crazy to say this, but if you can limit like Shai to like 25 points or less, I think Pacers have a really good chance to win that game. Like any game going in this series. Again, it's crazy to say limit someone to 25 points, but like Shai's been that type of dude right now, and when he does get that help from like Chet, J Dub, and all the like Caruso and Aaron Wiggins knocking down 5 threes, it's hard to come back from that at that point. Like that's what we saw in game two when they just didn't matter what type of comeback they had for a little bit. It's just 1 3 from Caruso, 1 3 from Wiggins, 1 3 from anybody. And it's like Pacers are just that, just digging themselves a hole. So definitely would like to see them just get out in transition and see what they can do to try to stop some of those open threes. And like you said, Zay, I don't think Caruso and Wiggins are going to knock down like say 20 points a game or anything like that, but they don't even really need to if Shai's cooking and they can get at least a couple open threes to go, because the Pacers just they look lost on offense at times if they're not in transition. And that's something that definitely needs to change.
Yeah, very lost. And a couple of things before we get into game two. Last 5 minutes of game one, Indiana went on a 15-2 run. Nothing new for them. But they were the first team out of 182 to be down in the final 3 minutes of the game and actually come back and win it. So that, but yeah, the end of that game was crazy, insane. Before we get into game two though, and not a first half player. Like I think I saw it today. He only has it's like less than 20% of his makes in the first half. Yesterday, game two, he only had 3 points in the first half. Like, that's just terrible. What do you think he needs to do? Just like be more aggressive or, kind of change up the looks that he's getting, or what is it?
I believe, well, me personally, I'm a Tyrese fan. He's not really a volume scorer like that, unless he's like having one of them nights where he's just hot. He likes to pick his spots. He likes to get his teammates involved because when the team's rolling, that's when the Pacers are really rolling. However, I think he needs to actually shoot a lot more mid-range jumpers. Dort's getting into his chest. Caruso's getting to his chest. You're not going to get a favorable switch, to be honest, because even Chet game two was sliding his feet. So I think he needs to get more in mid-range. He has good lift on his mid-range jumper. He hits it at a high clip. So I think he should take a page out of Shai's book, to be honest, and either one, get to that mid-range, and two, try to get Dort in foul trouble early. Dort's playing very physical with Tyrese. Caruso's playing very physical with Siakam and Tyrese as well. I think they both need to take foul bait, as they would say Shai's doing, but you have to sell the call, make the ref call it. Because it looks like, in my humble estimation, in game one and game two, Thunder's bringing all the physicality, but when the Pacers try to be physical, they're getting frustrated because Shai is really good at selling the call to the ref, which is a skill in itself. So I believe if they work on that, then Siakam, whether it be Siakam, Hallie, all of them, they need to make the refs call it or make them
Yeah.
not call it. Either way, they're gonna have to be consistent. Bring
Yeah.
the
So
Yeah.
I agree 100%. I mean, he's got to. I like to pick and roll with either Miles Turner or Pascal Siakam there, and I like that little floater. If he can knock down that floater consistently, like you said, try to sell some different calls out there. End of the day, he just needs to get to that mid range because that's where I think he's the most effective, if you will. And I think that also because what his major skill is he's a gifted passer. He's phenomenal when it comes to that. Obviously, we saw in game two some of his teammates weren't able to kind of hit those shots. Miles Turner couldn't buy a three, but like those looks will fall. And I think if you can at least get that mid range to fall there, that's only going to open up your teammates more. And you just gotta trust that they'll make those shots when it comes down to it. But at the end of the day, if you can hit that mid range, like that's just, I mean, a testament to kind of who this like Pacers offense is. If he can knock that down, he's always going to be a gifted passer and he'll get the job done there. But he's got to be a little bit more aggressive because they go in these slumps and he just has like 4 or 5 shot attempts like in a half, and you're like, that's just not going to do it in the finals. It's just we just need to see more out of him. That's all it is, really.
Yeah, if Tyrese gonna be the man, like you can't have, like you said, Grant, 4 or 5 shot attempts, in the first half. Like that's terrible. Especially you playing it against a team, OKC in game two. 5 players scored 15 plus points. Zay, you mentioned earlier, like Aaron Wiggins coming off and was cooking them. Man was going crazy. In that first half. Caruso, that was tied his career high, 20 points. He had that earlier in the playoffs this postseason against Denver. So it's just like, and then Chet was making shots. J Dub, he was getting, his shots. So, it was just, a lot that was going on that the Pacers just couldn't do anything, right? And their defense too, they struggled. It was like their defense, to me, in my opinion, it was just like their defense was not knowing what they wanted to do, who they wanted to stop. Yeah, obviously they wanted to try to stop Shai, but it wasn't working for them. And, and then, a big run, 35-9 run from 2:30
Yeah.
left in the first quarter until 4:48 in the second quarter, and then break it down even further, you had 3 mini runs within that run. So it's like, the Pacers, you can't allow that to happen. And that was basically, between that big run, and then the bench, Caruso, Wiggins, shout out Isaiah Hartenstein, for locking down the paint too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just can't allow that to happen. Y'all mentioned, Spicy P earlier. He was not good in game two. 27%, which was his worst ever in his career. What do you think he has to do? We've always known him, as I've always called him Spin Boy, because that's what he mainly does, spins, get to the post, easy lay, but it was working. But, what do you think he has to do? Him and Haliburton really, kind of, I guess, get their offense going and help the Pacers, try to get one at home.
He gotta get to the line. You can't let Alex Caruso, J Dub, they're harassing him. They're physical. They're pushing him off all his spots. Everywhere he wants to go, they're pushing him off all the spots. They're making it so hard on him to get there. So he either has to get a more favorable matchup or he has to get to the line. He's not getting no easy shots. Like they're making all the shots they were shooting last night, especially. Yeah, last night. They were hard. They were tough. There were
Yeah,
him trying to force his way to the rim on Caruso. Caruso's not small. He's shooting a contested hard layup. I know he's looking for fouls, but you gotta sell it. I understand trying to play real basketball. It's like Edwards. And Edwards don't get a lot of fouls because you feel me? You gotta sell it. I know people talk about like they don't want to see the flopping, they don't want to see all that, but hey, Shai's getting to the line 8 times. At some point, you gotta, especially, and that will keep Lou Dort on the bench, and that'll keep Alex Caruso on the bench. Will also favor super well for the team as well. So they have to get them in foul trouble for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean that was perfectly said. Like end of the day, he's got to get to the line at least 10 times a game. I like to see like the pick and pop, with him and Tyrese too. I want to see kind of more of that aspect of his game there. But other than that, I mean, I won't beat a dead horse here. I think that's perfectly said. You got to get to the line. You got to get those guys in foul trouble, because once you do get those guys in foul trouble, that opens up Indiana's offense just that much more, and it's just going to put more pressure on Shade. Drop all these points, make sure his other teammates are hitting shots, and if you can get those guys out of there, it's just such a huge one up for the Pacers.
For sure. What's your thoughts on the lineup change? Mark Daigneault, OKC coach, he's starting Cason Wallace instead. Most of the playoffs he's been starting Hartenstein, and now he's coming off the bench. Y'all think that it's going to continue to work? I mean, so far through 2 games, yeah, it has. Obviously, game one they lost, but, that was in the last zero point 0.3 seconds. But, y'all think it was a good switch that he made, or should he go back to the double big? Because I think, in my opinion, real quick, just like the double big, when Chet and Hartenstein are playing, like, it's nice. And it matches up well with Siakam and Miles Turner. But with Cason Wallace, like y'all both mentioned, it gives more defensive pressure to Tyrese, to Siakam, and kind of forces, those smaller guys to get up in them and not give them space, basically. But what's y'all thoughts on that lineup change?
To be honest, I like it. I'm not mad at it. Siakam can't really bully Alex Caruso like he really wants to, because the rest are letting him play. And with the small lineup, they're swarming. They're running everybody off the line. They're not getting no open threes, they're contesting everything. Even if it's a light contest, they're getting out. They're swarming. They're everywhere. So I think it's good, because I think with Hartenstein and Chet, now you got two people. Now they can attack them closeouts better. The Pacers love to attack closeouts, play in space, drive, kick, attack the closeout. So with Lou Dort, Cason, with all of them out there, it's harder, because they're everywhere. Everybody got foot speed. Everybody's rotating perfectly. So they've been swarming on defense, like attacking the ball, putting a body on somebody, being physical. They're mauling the Pacers right now. So credit to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think having Hartenstein and Chet out there, I think they actually pair very well, like you were saying. Like Hartenstein's actually a relatively pretty good passer for being a big man. But at the end of the day, like the defensive pressure that Cason Wallace also applies out there, and just having all the other guys too, it's like if you can frustrate the Pacers that much, and if you are slowing them down in the half court offense, the Pacers have no chance. Like their whole game plan is getting out and running, and it's if you got these smaller guys that are like out there able to then pick up, put them in this half court offense, like that's I think the key for the Thunder. That's why I think they've done so well and kind of shut down this Pacers offense for for stretches we'll see. So I think it's a great change, but I think at the end of the day, like both lineups are very very solid. Like you were saying, Zay, like the Thunder are very deep as a whole, so it's just an extra advantage for that aspect of it there, that you can play these different lineups and have different options, if you will, on defense. But I think the smaller lineup actually just works better when you can pressure Tyrese that much and more or less just kind of stop Indiana's offense to some degree there. So I like the change.
Yeah, nah. I mean, that too. Like, it's a good thing. Like y'all both said, like, they're able to give them switches, give them different looks. Like, that zone. For I don't know how long it was, but that zone, kind of worked from OKC. Indiana tried it, but it's not the same. So it'd be interesting to see, what kind of switches and changes that Mark Daigneault continues to make. Let's flip it. The series is headed to Indiana now. 1-1 series. The Pacers have only lost 2 games at home all playoffs, and while the Thunder 4-3 on the road, 2 of those came against Denver Nuggets, who took the OKC Thunder to 7 games in the second round. What's y'all thoughts? What do the Pacers need to do, in order to keep home court advantage? What do the Thunder need to do to kind of, get one on the road?
Pacers need a Tyrese game. They need a
Facts.
Tyrese game bad. They need, actually, not even a Tyrese game. They need somebody to score over 20 points. There's been 2 games, nobody scored over 20. Somebody, whether it be Siakam, whether it be Tyrese, whether it be Aaron Nesmith, whether it be Nimhard. They have so many, whether it be Miles Turner, they have a lot of options. Somebody has to break that 20-point threshold. Somebody has to have a good offensive night. Somebody has to figure out the holes in this OKC defense. I know it's not going to be easy, and I credit the OKC. They've been a swarming defense all year, and with the 4-guard lineup, it's even harder, because all they got is split speed and bodies. All they got is split speed and bodies. So I need Siakam to do better, or try to get a switch on Cason, because Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, he's not very able to take advantage of that matchup very well so far. And then on defensively, they have to stop the others from going off. They have to stop the Alex Caruso 20. They have to stop the Aaron Wiggins. I'm gonna be honest. What makes Shai so great is he doesn't need a screen, so he's not always calling that screen. He's just straight clear out, so you're not even gonna have a chance to double. So keep him 25 to 30 range and make sure that others don't give him 20. That's because he's just, they don't have an answer for Shai, to be honest. One on one, they've tried Neith Smith, got cooked. They tried Ben Mathurin, got cooked. They tried everything. At some point, you just gotta concede that he has 30,
Yeah.
25, 30 points and just stop the others like they do to Jokic. That's how it's gonna go.
Fair. Yeah, they gotta. I
That's
mean, and then Grant, I'll let you go. Kind of do like, you know, how OKC beat Minnesota. Have the others beat them. So they took Ant out the equation. Gave him all these different looks. You gotta kind of have the others beat him. So if you can, like y'all both said, make Shai give you 25. 30. He's probably gonna get 30. He's been doing it the whole postseason. But you gotta cap it at like 30. That's it. You can't get more than that. And most of it's gotta come, from the free throw line, even though we all know, people say, he's a free throw merchant and everything like that. But you gotta make him go to the free throw line, because that midi, he's got that on lock. Like this is I can't lie, it's nice to watch, him attacking the mid range area. It's like a Kawhi Leonard, S game, because you know my love, for Kawhi Leonard. So I'm liking it. The minute he attacking it and he's getting whatever he wants, and it's just Indiana can't do anything to stop it. So I don't know. Grant, my fault. What's your thoughts, real quick?
No, you're good. I exactly what you guys were saying there too. And then I just like Pacers need to get out in transition. They need to attack the Thunder's defense early. They need to get some easy buckets. Get to the free throw line on these fast breaks. Make them foul you. Make them get into foul trouble and kind of get some of these guys on the bench early. If you can do that, and if Tyrese has still got that mid range, I think they still have a good chance. Again, limiting Shai is way easier said than done. So we'll see what actually kind of happens there. We'll kind of see what type of pressure they can get on them. But my biggest thing just for the Pacers, if you can get out in transition, kind of stop going on these, 20 to 5 runs where they just go down. Like I was saying, you just can't do it against the Thunder team. They're just too deep. They're very solid offensively, and they're phenomenal on defense to the point where it's tough. It's tough to come by baskets. So at the end of the day, if you can get some easy ones, get out there. I think that they have a good chance. Because like you said, they got some good guys out there. They got guys that can do it. They also just got to prove it too. The whole team needs to kind of step up. And I know Tyrese has been, the talk obviously once he had his game winner and all that, but like really too, it's like some of the other guys they just need to put the ball in the basket. Pascal Siakam's got to play much, much better. I still want Tyrese to be aggressive at the mid range, but like Miles Turner's got to hit a couple more threes, and just kind of go from there. So I'm looking forward to the next 2 games though. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be damn good.
No, for real. Real good. I'm looking forward to it. Just because I don't know what it is, but Indiana, just them playing at home, is different. And I think we are due, like you said, Zay. I think we do for a Tyrese game. I think Game 3 is the game where he gets it together. Pop's been there at the finals, but I think it's gonna be different when Pop's at home. That's where he went off last time. I think for all my best triple double, in Game 3. That might be. I don't know what the odds are right now, but I'm liking it. I got a feeling that it's gonna hit. So yeah, we'll see. When it ends up happening. Like I said, Game 3 is Wednesday, right? Yeah,
Yep.
Game 3 Wednesday. So we'll see. Last thing, before their Game 2, they put it digitally, the little Larry O'B's in the corner. I don't know if y'all saw that or whatnot. I thought it was like, damn, like, here y'all go, I thought that was pretty funny. What y'all think? Do y'all think they should put it back? I saw some report that said they took it off because of player safety. I don't know how much truth behind that, but yeah, I'm the same way, Zay. I don't know how much player safety that goes into it. It can't be that too much because they do the same thing for the in-season tournament. But y'all think they should bring it back or what?
They need, to be honest, they need to get it together. They need, the calling of the game needs to be slightly better. Mike Green does a great job. Doris, sometimes she's just,
Terrible.
yeah, sometimes she's out, but yeah, they definitely need to put it back on there. For sure. We need more of the Mark Jackson, let me have this dance. We need more of the bang. We need to bring the NBA back. We need to bring the fan love, the stuff that the fans love to hear. Whether it be aesthetically, because everybody, that's been a thing forever. I don't know why all of a sudden we're going to take that out. That's part of the finals. Everybody wants to see that. Like, come on now, we're taking away too much of the things that got the fans in love with the game in the first place. But that's not.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. First off, I think Doris Burke is terrible. Just want to put that out there. Respectfully, I think it's just, yeah, we need a better crew out there. Mike Breen he's always the GOAT. I need him there for sure, but yeah, I digress. Anyway, but the fact that they were saying about like the player safety, I think that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Because the in-season tournament courts were the most wacky courts I've ever seen. I mean, it was almost hard to watch on TV at times. With that, for me at least, they're so different, and that's for the in-season tournament. Like you're telling me we can't bring the Larry O'Brien Trophy, at mid-court there for the finals. Like it just feels like it's like they put more effort into the in-season tournament, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous when we've got this far and everyone's still watching the finals. It's been a good final so far, and it's like why can't we at least go the extra mile for that when we would for the in-season tournament? So that's my whole thing with it. I just think I mean, it's almost just sad. It's like I think it's not even that hard of a thing to do, to be honest, and it's what the fans want. Like it's what everyone points to, and like they're talking about like how it's just like the ore, if you will, whatever is not there for the finals. It's just like just feels like some regular old games. Just everyone's wearing the same T-shirt, like in the fans. It's not the same as it used to be, and it definitely I think can easily be changed. I just don't know why it hasn't.
Yeah. Real quick, y'all both mentioned Doris Burke, but y'all didn't mention Richard Jefferson. So I'm gonna say we all are in agreement that he needs to get out there too. He needs to get out of there. They need a like. Yeah, I miss like it's like the old band, Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy. Like it was crazy. Part two was Mike Breen point three, no bang, and he was like, "I only hit bangs on threes." Nah, bruh. It's the finals, man. That's a bang moment right there. You gotta hit it. And then game quarter. Nah, we don't want it then, bro. We want it
We
fourth
want the
quarter.
real spill.
I mean,
Man.
yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Nah,
for
for
sure.
real though. But hopefully we'll see. Maybe they'll change it up. Game 3 and 4. I doubt it. But it'll be interesting to see. That's probably why they bringing back the NBC or NBA on NBC too to kind of bring some of that or back and stuff like that. I don't know. But before we close out, y'all got any last thoughts? About the finals or anything else?
Yes, I have one.
Let's hear it.
That Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, that's a monster right there. They just simply just can't guard him 1-on-1. I don't know if they're gonna mix in some doubles so the other people got to hoop, but 1-on-1 he's just literally clear out. I got you, and just getting straight into a bucket. I think the Pacers might have to play in gaps a little bit more, so he just can't work out 1-on-1. But he's right by you. He's step back over the top. He's giving you anything you want. He's giving it to you. They have to find a way to get the ball out of his hands, whether it be doubles, whether it be something.
How do
They
you
might
think they do it
have to go
though?
box and one. They might have to guard him like they guard Steph. I'm saying, like, it's ridiculous what he's doing out there. Like the way he's just treating Ben, he's just cooking him, like, just putting him in a blender every time. Like it's not
Yeah.
even. It's kind of crazy, but that's my last word. He's amazing. He might be second best. He might be first. Nah, he can't be first. He might be first.
You think, and this be the last question. If OKC doesn't end up winning the finals, I know Zay, you said you got the Pacers, but if OKC does win the finals, does Shea, with the season that he's had, MVP, first team, it'll probably be Finals MVP, All-Star, all this. Is he up there? Like, is he top Thunder's player of all time?
No,
I think yes.
he has to be.
Okay.
He has to be. I don't know if he's gonna be bigger than Brook though, but he's up there for sure. He has to. I don't know if he's gonna be one, but he gonna be if you give him like a couple more, not even a couple, like 2 or 3 more deep playoff runs, he'll be one. But they're not gonna love him more than Russ yet.
Yeah.
Russ is their like guy, but
Facts.
yeah.
See, I don't know. I gotta see more years out of him still before I can start having that conversation. It's just like I get it. Like, don't get me wrong, he's having one of the better seasons we've seen from a player just in a long time in general. But I don't know. It's gotta be at least like 2-3 years consistently of doing it for me to like actually kind of get to that level. That's just like how my ranking system goes.
I feel it. That's fair. Yeah, I think it's up there. You know, I personally think KD right now is their guy. Zay, you said Russ, but I think if they
Really,
do it,
KD's their guy.
I mean, he took him to the finals when Russ was there. Yeah, he won MVP. He never led him to the finals. The best they got was first round. They lost to Donovan Mitchell. You know, they had PG, Carmelo, and Russ. And they lost to Donovan Mitchell.
Russ put his blood, sweat, and tears in there though. Like,
I mean, he did.
Yeah,
through
it's a different type of
effort.
love. Different type of love.
Yeah, they love. When KD came back, they were screaming cupcake.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm
I was
saying?
too.
Russ came back.
I was
They
too.
were like, okay, you got it, Russ. You know what I'm saying? They
True.
retire his jersey. I don't know if they retire KD's jersey. Do they retire KD's jersey?
I don't think they do.
I
There's
think
no
they
reason to
retired
actually.
Kendrick Perkins' jersey before they retired KD's jersey. I'm just saying.
My boy KG said he was the leader of that team.
Yeah, I don't know. I put him on the broadcast over Richard Jefferson. That's my last thought. I put him. Maybe he'll have something to say. But I don't
No,
know.
I think didn't they say I don't know if Gil's gonna be on the broadcast. Isn't Gil gonna be somewhere on NBC? They're trying to get Gilbert.
Arenas?
Yeah, they're trying to put Gil on the staff. I know that for a fact. He's gonna make it interesting regardless.
Yeah,
No
because
matter
he
where
don't know
they
what
put
he's
him.
talking about half the time, and he jumps ships. He is a bandwagon. I've never seen a bigger bandwagon NBA player than Gilbert Arenas. I don't understand it. Bro was rooting for the Thunder, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, Tyrese hit the shot. And now he all of a sudden a Pacers fan. All right, bro, you got it. Yeah. But yeah, Zay, appreciate you hopping on the show, man. Once again,
Yes, sir.
definitely, have you on, again after finals, postseason stuff, because I know you got about we didn't talk about it today, all the Giannis and KD stuff. I know you already got thoughts, so definitely gotta pick your brain, hear what you got to say about that. But yeah, appreciate you hopping on, and that's all we got for now. Until next time, we'll catch you then.
Peace.